Mad Max says, also
A
my
root beer
generation
plate.
has. He said, also my generation has the most options than the previous eras. Excuse me. Like it's really subgenres. Like you'll have a kid who likes Dirt, then another one that likes K Dot, then someone who likes Cardi. Yeah, and then you
That's
got
what's
somebody
wrong
that
with
listens
you.
to all of them because you're able to skip around. Like what I think what
No, no,
people
no.
who never really had to go into a record store to buy albums doesn't really understand is the fact that you kind of get boxed in to the
No, no, no.
certain
That's what's
artists that
wrong
you
with you. No,
fuck
no,
with.
no. That's what's wrong with you hoes. You got too many options. You can just go on Tinder and swipe.
But see,
We
now I think
organic.
having a lot of options is cool and it keeps people eclectic because there's a lot of records in the record store that I never took a chance on because it was so outside of my box. You know what I mean?
That's what
And
I
and
mean.
there are
That's
albums
what I
that I
mean.
wish I would have
No,
got on when I was younger, but I didn't because I didn't take a
no, no, no,
chance on
no,
them.
no. This is what I'm. Okay, so Mike, I'm gonna say this respectfully. This is what I mean when I'm like the music now is like Tinder. You can just swipe left, but it's like I don't like that shit because it's like, well, you, you
It
don't know how
devalues the
that.
music.
How about? I'm gonna say this respectfully, Mike. It's like, well, she can show you that ass on Tinder, but you don't know how that ass looks when she's walking away. That might do something to you. Like it's different when you get it in your hands live. You know what I'm saying? And
You
so
talking
all
about
the
the
stripping and
music
all
or
the
you talking about
digitizing,
the ass? Like,
both. It's the same thing.
I
You need
get
to
the
put your
analogy.
hands on it live, is what I'm saying. Like this is what I'm saying. This is like I can look at a woman visually,
Mm-hmm.
like digitally, and she can be aesthetically pleasing, Mike. But there's nothing like that woman that like gets up and walks, and you're watching her body move and the curve and the
No, I
dips and
feel
the
you.
gap. You feel what I'm saying?
Real life.
That's it's not the same shit as the motherfucker on the screen, and the same rules apply to the music, is what I'm saying.
You're right.
It's
The
not the same
physical.
thing. Don't tell me that it is.
Physical versus digital. Ray Realms with the super chat
Take your ass
says,
to Atlanta, you'll feel differently.
Ray Realms says, speaking of albums, did you hear K's two new albums, Linguistic Arts and Woeful Studies? Please do. They're heavy. So much music out there. We got to get on that.
What's
Got to put
music?
notes to that.
Like
And that's one of the reasons, there's a lot of music too because it's digital. Mad
they
Max says,
you all have ruined my life. It's like I don't listen to rap anymore unless there's music coming out because I have to listen to so much music that's coming out because so much music comes out and we have to cover it. I don't get to listen to Illmatic or Ready to Die anymore. I don't know what the purple tape sounds like anymore.
oh, whatever.
That's a
We
lie. I
look.
played the purple tape the other day. That's a
Right.
lie.
Mad Max says, you got alternative rap. You got people who like drill people. You got who like melodies and people who bounce. That's how a lot of these guys making their LPs. Speaking of which, what do you think about New York banning drill music? And because I think it's the Rolling Loud, New York, that's going to be this weekend. So NYPD, they have banned all the drill performers.
Do they have a valid legal reason to?
Mayor Adams says that drill
Because
music
reason,
causes
because
violence.
as I say, because by reason, it just needs to be reasonable measure within a reasonable time continuum. Do we
This is
have a
the thing.
reasonable? Is there a reasonable measure of violence within a reasonable time continuum to say that this should be held, or
Yeah,
that these artists should be withheld? Because if so, then yes, because that's literally legally binding.
this is my thing, man. And again, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier.
You need to hire
Now you
lawyers.
have people who, and Mayor Adams included, because he was on that Supreme Team documentary, which I thought was really dope. You got to watch that if you haven't watched that yet.
I did watch it.
Okay, it was really dope. I think we should talk about that at some point too.
I would
But
love
he
to.
comes from a hip hop generation, and at this point, even people like Fonnie Willis in Atlanta, they come from hip hop generations.
Get it.
And I just think that it's so wild to see people who know what it feels like for NWA to get censored and hip hop just being so anti establishment and going against the grain and going against the system and get censored for their expression. They live on, they get older, and they go back and do the same thing. It's very interesting to me. I don't see how this is any different than any other era getting censored as well. Um, I don't know. That's just my opinion on it. I don't think that I think it's dangerous when you can sit there and ban a whole subgenre. Then what stopped you from just banning a genre, period? It sets a bad precedence, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
I mean, no, I get everything you mean. I just don't even know what really like.
Let me go to the super chats while you think.
Yeah,
J Dub says,
do that.
looking forward to
You want to
Katie.
know what, Mike? You're stressing me out. I'm gonna take. Shout out to our last month's sponsor, Relax Relief. I'm about to have me a hemp cigarette.
Oh, definitely, definitely. J Dub with the super chat says, looking forward to Katie 3. But I would love for Nas to try to do a full concept album after that. Y'all asking a lot from Nas. Give a lot, expect a lot. Mad Max says, Coop, I agree. There are so many options. It's dulling hip hop if you're a purist. So I get it. I struggle with it too. 36 Chambers says, options are great, but the market is so saturated, the quality suffers. You don't have to be good anymore to put out music. Yeah, anybody.
That's the thing about. Okay, so let's unpack a couple things. First of all, the people that are saying get off my lawn are saying get off my lawn because the lawn looks good, okay? But understand, kids are going to be kids and they're going to come run on your lawn. This is something I literally had to understand when I was married once with my lawn. I had the corner lot and I had the biggest yard in the neighborhood and kids were always literally on my damn lawn. Yeah. One night, I got home from work and there were literally kids hanging in my tree and running in my grass. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm about to fuck these kids up beyond recognition. And then I thought to myself, I really am turning into the old guy that is about to physically tell children to get off of my lawn. And you have to really, no, this is what
it's funny to see, man. It is.
You have to make a choice if you really want to be that person. And so a lot of these old people turning into their, who came before them, it's still a choice. It's who they want to be.
You're right.
But some of it is trauma, and I'm not joking when I say it.
I mean, I'm sitting here reading.
I was like, Mike, when you explained it, I was like, that shit sounds traumatizing.
I was reading some comments, like, on some hip-hop pages. People are like, good, I'm glad they're banning this. I'm like...
That's what I mean. It's like, what kind of hip-hop trauma have you gone to? If we're not giving you enough Mobb Deep classic albums...
Your parents were saying the same thing. I remember my parents' reaction when I was listening to Bone Thugs and Harmony. Like, they was like, saying, what is this?
These same parents,
this is gibberish.
Mike, are these same parents that circa 1995, 96 were saying, rock you in your face, stab your brain with your nose bone?
Exactly.
Because I'm pretty sure it's the same motherfuckers that was saying that with
Exactly. No, the same people.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Is that you?
Same people that was going to Freaknik.
Therapy.
Seeing
therapy. I'm not joking. You've been traumatized if you were behaving this way. You just made me smoke a hemp cigarette. Shout out to Relax Relief.
It's wild, man. And it's like, we got to let kids be kids. And obviously, I think that the safety part of it's the biggest thing. But banning a whole subgenre, you got to let us know what's going on in New York.
This is okay, so can we get to the other side of it? And let's get to the actual, like, structural, institutional side of it. And I've said this before. Well, police don't really do police work like they used to anymore, Mike, on the actual police work side as far as canvassing, getting acquainted with, and taking care of the neighborhood. If these drill rappers and their collectives, their crews, their cliques are nefarious enough that it warrants more police protection, then provide it. Because you're there to serve the community. The community is used to this show. Drill rappers have been doing this show for quite some time now. Why don't you protect and serve and provide the community? And here's the problem. Well, because you're not involved in this community, because you don't really serve or protect this community, well, you can't just pull up into this community comfortably with extra police. Now, can you? There's a lack of police work that's getting done institutionally that's preventing this from happening as well.
You know what's funny, though? We used to laugh about certain songs getting banned in clubs, like Tear the Club Up couldn't get played wherever, whatever. But we shouldn't have really laughed at that because this is where it leads to. You banning
We're
a
here.
song, then you ban an artist, ban a whole genre.
We're here.
Yeah. The Raisin Head with the super chat
I feel
says,
better.
then rappers who rapped about shooting but didn't, now real shooters who can't rap, we want to rap too. To be real until it gets too real. Gift and a curse. Well, that's the other part about it. We want our rappers to be real until shit does get real. And then you're
No,
like,
and
oh,
then it's
that's
like,
crazy.
right? It's like we want them to be gangsters, and it's like, well, why aren't you serving the community? Like I tell you what, it's just like Benny the Butcher was just at a high school in like Rochester, I think, and I was like, great, good job. And then I'm thinking like, hold on, all y'all just got done reporting all this shit that's going on with him and Gibbs. I didn't see one of the same people and the same media outlets and factions that were reporting what was going on between him and Gibbs. When he pulled up to this high school to show love, I didn't see one of those media outlets spin the block and promote that shit.
Right, right. I mean, I
But
don't
I
know,
seen
man.
it. But I seen it.
I don't know. Mad Max says,
Very problematic.
Mad Max says, people still gonna listen to drill. The beats are too enchanting, and you can't tell an NY person nothing. I don't care what generation they're from. We not hearing you. But see, that's the thing, though, Mad Max. When you ban something with the youth, it gets stronger because the youth is out here trying to rebel anyway. When they were out there smashing Snoop Dogg's tapes in the streets, that made you want to listen to the shit more. Interscope found that out early. I feel like, and this is me being a conspiracy theorist, right? I feel like Interscope caught on to that and was like, yeah, we're gonna just stage these record smashings
And
because the
Mike, can I
kids are
say,
gonna want it more, and they
hold
did.
on, and can I say something like you want to know it? And here's the truth of the matter too. We're just very hypocritical in our community when it comes to the rearing of the younger generation. Like
Do as
I've
I
heard
say,
from,
not as I do.
no, right. Well, I've heard this from a lot of people. Like, some people are more old school than I am about parenting. And I've parented my daughter a certain type of way. And people are like, well, why do you? Da, da, da? I'm like, motherfucker, do you know what I was doing at 15? It's like, hold on, motherfucker, do you remember what you were doing at 15?
People forget very quickly.
You think I'm about to, no. Oh, I knew what I was doing at 15, 16. This kid's all right with me. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? And so people be conveniently forgetting like who they were. And also too, it's like, well, where do you think this behavior came from? Once again, where do you think this behavior came from?
Well, you know what? Somebody said in the chat, blaming music is super trash behavior, and that is correct. Especially when, again, you talk about so many things that were systemic, and you said this earlier when we were talking about another topic. They know why these things are happening, but it's easy to sit there and blame the music. Ice Cube said this back in like 1990. He was like, but you want to sit here and blame me. I'm easy to blame.
Right. Listen, I'm not joking. That's what I mean. It's like, if these people been traumatized, go get some goddamn therapy.
Yeah, man.
Go get some help. Go get some help about the issues that you have inside.
But what's so wild to me, though, Coop, the people who are making these decisions to ban these things come from that generation where Ice Cube was saying these things.
That's why they need to get
you
therapy,
know these
Mike.
things.
It's our generation.
This is the
and people
generation
slightly older than us.
This is the generation that grew up listening to Public Enemy. You know what time it is. No pun intended. And you're out here making these decisions? Mike, New York, man, you got to come tell us something, man.
Mike, these people saying fuck the police, fight the power, and shook one's part two.
Those are the people that are in office making these decisions to ban drill music. And I don't even want to just pick on them. Those are the people in those chats that are co-signing this. Like, yeah, good. I'm glad they banned it. Really? Okay. The Raisin Head says, take away the violence and erase 70% of your playlist. I would love to see what's on some of these politicians' playlists when it comes to hip hop.
Probably
what are you listening to in the gym? I want to know.
The Chronic.
I'm
telling you. You think I'm joking? Old white people love The Chronic.
Well, I was talking about the black politicians, but yeah, them too, I'm sure.
What black politicians?
Well, there you go.